Hey guys, it's me Randy, President of ACE. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about the rules. Jumping right into the thick of things, the object of Heroes is to be the first player to reach 250 victory points. That number changing if you want a longer or shorter game. Victory points are predominantly gained by damaging enemy hero cards and defeating soldiers. Basically, you win a game of Heroes by being aggressive and attacking, rather than having a pool of life that you need to protect in order to win. If Heroes was a video game, you would win by being the player with the most kills, not by being the player who stayed in a corner and died the least. You track your victory points on your deck's chosen hero card. The number of victory points you start a game with is determined by what hero you choose. Before the game starts, you place your 3 command cards aside. We'll go over these more in a bit, and pick what hero you want to use for this game. You then search your deck for any 2 resource cards, attach them to your hero, and shuffle your deck. You then draw your starting hand of 6 cards. If you're not happy with your hand, you can mulligan by shuffling your hand back into your deck and drawing a new hand of 6 cards. If you're still not happy, you can mulligan again, but this time for only 5 cards. All subsequent mulligans being for 1 less card each time. You may then place any number of Soldier Warrior, the base rank of the soldier, cards from your hand face down in either of your 4 active or reserve spots. Each player then rolls to see who starts the game with the crown and thus priority. The player with the crown has his play card occur first, followed in order by the players to his left, should an attack or effect command card be revealed. Once every player has settled on their starting hand and chosen whether or not to field warriors, the first round of the game starts. During a round, the following phases occur. Round order. Crown movement phase. The crown does not move during the first round of the game. The player with the crown gives it to the player sitting to his left. Upkeep phase. There is no upkeep during the first round of the game. Players ready or unexhaust their cards, and any card effects that state they occur during upkeep take effect. The draw phase. Each player draws a card from the top of their deck. Play card phase. Each player chooses either to use their first play card or to pass. Play cards, especially command cards, are the foundation of concurrent gameplay, and are what allow players to efficiently and intuitively take their turns at the same time. Any time a player wants to do anything in the game, they take either a card from their hand or a command card and place it face down in the middle of the field. These cards are the play cards of that play. Each player then flips over their play card, the card effect now activating. A player can also choose to pass, indicating that they will be using no more play cards for the rest of the round, although they will still be able to block with their active zone soldiers. Play cards continue to be selected and used until every player has passed, causing a new round to start. Rounds continue in this way until a player or team reaches 250 victory points and wins the game. Before we go any further, I'm going to explain each card type. Command cards. Command cards are revealed as a player's play card when the player wishes to use an ability from one of their cards already on the field, rather than play a new card from their hand. The attack command card is played to show that you are initiating combat and attacking with one of your soldiers. I'll explain combat in greater detail later in the video. The move command card is played to move one of your soldiers from the reserve zone to the active zone, or vice versa. The first movement you make during a round is free. Any further movements, whether advancing to the active zone or retreating to the reserve, require you to pay the moving soldier's movement cost. I'll go over the difference between the active and reserve zone later in the video. The effect command card is played to show that you are using one of the active skill effects on either your hero, one of your soldiers, or one of your tactic cards that has an active effect. Resource cards. Resource cards are what power your hero's skills, allow a soldier to attack or move, and let you field and activate tactics cards. Like all cards in your deck, you play a resource card by selecting it as your play card. Upon revealing it, you then attach it to one of your soldiers in the ready position. Most cards come into play ready, meaning that they are not exhausted and can be used immediately. We'll go over what it means to be exhausted and ready in a moment. A card's text determines what resource cost you must pay in order to use the card or one of its abilities. The resource symbols indicate that a soldier who is using the attack or skill, or is having the tactics card attached to him, must have the corresponding resource cards attached. Those resources can be either ready or exhausted. The sixth symbol is universal. Any attached resource card, regardless of type, can fulfill its requirement. These resource symbols indicate that an attack or skill can only be used if the soldier with the attack or skill has the corresponding resource cards attached, regardless of whether or not the attached resources are ready or already exhausted. When these resource symbols appear on a tactics card, such as an equipment, they indicate that the tactics card can only be attached to a soldier who already has the corresponding resources attached to him. The sixth symbol is universal. Any attached resource card, regardless of type, can fulfill its requirement. Randall, the Lord of War, has 3 hero skills. The first, Spoils of War, is a passive that has no cost and is always occurring. Anytime a player using the Lord of War defeats an enemy soldier or directly damages an enemy hero for at least 30 damage, the player draws a card and doesn't have to pay any kind of resource cost. Randall's second skill, Frontline Leadership, is also a passive. However, if a player wanted one of his soldiers to use the add effect, he would have to exhaust an additional Kingdom of Verum resource card, in addition to his attack cost, to gain the add effect of plus 10 damage. Randall's last skill is Lion Strike. The player using Lion Strike would show the effect command card to indicate that he is using a special effect, in this case, a hero skill. Randall's last skill is Lion Strike. The player using Lion Strike would show the effect command card to indicate that he is using a special effect, in this case, a hero skill, and would then announce that he is using Lion Strike specifically. Exhaust 2 Verum resources and 1 of any type, these resources being attached to either the Lord of War or any of his soldiers. Lion Strike effect would now occur. Tactics cards are highly strategic cards that can affect the game in a wide variety of ways, and generally require a player to exhaust resources in order to play or activate. All tactics cards have a subtype, either Tactics Magic, Tactics Equipment, or Tactics Edict. The subtype of a tactics card does not directly affect game rules, but may affect other cards, such as how Archmage's staff specifically interacts with Tactics Magic cards. The speed of a tactics card determines what occurs when the tactics card is revealed as your play card. After paying for its play cost, an instant tactics card takes immediate effect upon being revealed as your play card, you following its effect rules, then discarding it. After paying for the initial play cost of a ready tactics card, the ready tactics card comes into play attached to one of your soldiers, where it either provides an immediate passive effect or can be activated at any time in the future by revealing the effect command card and paying its activate cost. Exhausted tactics work in a very similar way to ready tactics, but come attached to one of your soldiers exhausted, being unable to provide a passive or active effect until the tactics ready during the next upkeep, giving the enemy players some forewarning that you're playing a particularly powerful tactics so that they might try to play around it. Doctrine cards. Doctrine cards are powerful cards that take immediate effect upon being revealed as your play card, and then placed aside to show that you have used a doctrine card this round. Since you can only play 1 doctrine card per round, players discard any doctrine card put aside during the upkeep phase. Soldiers. Soldier cards are the fighters of heroes, and it is with soldiers that you will attack and block. Each soldier card has a rank that determines when it can be fielded. Warriors, indicated by 1 sword, are the base rank and come into play in an empty reserve spot. Officers are promoted from warriors and are indicated by 2 swords. Champions are promoted from officers and are shown with 3 swords. Whenever you reveal a promoted soldier, you simply place it on top of its previous rank, all damage effects and attached cards transferring over. Health points. Soldier cards have health. That determines how much damage a soldier card can take before being defeated. Any amount of damage that, in conjunction with previous damage taken, meets or exceeds that health amount defeats the soldier. The player who controlled a now defeated soldier discards it and all cards attached to it and loses 10 victory points. The player who defeated the soldier gains 30 victory points, additionally drawing a card from their deck in free-for-all games of more than 2 players. Movement cost. Soldiers have a movement cost that determines how many resources of any type must be exhausted in order to move the soldier from one zone to the other. The first movement a player makes during a round is free. Attacks. Attacks are used by revealing the attack command card and initiating the combat step. Only soldiers in one of the 4 active spots may attack or block. Like tactics cards, attacks generally must be paid for with resource cards. I'll go over the combat step later in the video. Skills are either passive or active. Passive skills are always on, while active skills require a player to use the effect command cards and generally exhaust resources. Skills are either passive or active. Passive skills are always on, while active skills require a player to use the effect command cards and generally exhaust resources. Skills can be used from either the active or reserve zones. The active and reserve zones. Soldier warrior cards come into play in one of the 4 reserve spots. If all 4 of your reserve spots are occupied by soldiers, you can't play any more warriors from your hand or retreat active zone soldiers to the reserve. Soldiers in the reserve cannot normally be the target of an attack, but nor can they block or initiate their own attack. You also have 4 active spots in which up to 4 soldiers can attack and block from. It is important to have at least a few active soldiers in order to block for your otherwise exposed hero. Combat step. When a player reveals the attack command card, he initiates the combat step, which works as follows. Selection of target. The player who revealed the attack command card is the attacking player. He names the specific hero or enemy active soldier he wishes to attack. That card is called the target. Blocking. The player controlling the target, the defending player, may now choose to block by picking any one of his ready active soldiers and exhausting it. Should he choose to not block, another player may block for him by exhausting one of his or hers ready active soldiers. The soldier that ends up blocking is called the defender. Should no blocker be chosen by anyone, the original target is the defender. The player who controls the defender is the defending player. Choosing an attacker. The attacking player now picks any of his ready active soldiers to actually attack with. This card is exhausted and is called the attacker. Clashing. The attacker and defender now clash. The attacking player is the first to use an attack, naming which attack he wishes to use and paying its cost. If the defender is a soldier instead of a hero and is still able to do so afterward, the defending player may then choose and pay for one of the defending soldier's attacks to use against the attacking soldier. The process of the attacker and defender attacking each other is known as clashing. If the defending soldier is defeated by the attacker's first attack during the clashing phase, the defender may not retaliate as it is defeated. Deck building. Decks and heroes have 60 cards, 61 if you count the interchangeable hero card. With the exception of basic resource cards, you can only run 4 of any individual card in your deck. The core set of heroes comes with multiple copies of many set cards not found in the starter decks, so make sure to experiment with different deck ideas.